Album Review TV, Beyond the Reviews. Time for a review of Comedown Machine, the fifth studio album by garage rock group The Strokes. The fifth and possibly final album from one of the most defining rock bands of the 21st century. That's the way it's seeming here with Comedown Machine. The band have no plans to tour. Things seem a little bit tense within the band, and all the time, the music video for the new single kind of seems like a farewell video to me, but I'm probably wrong, and I hope I am. Comedown Machine comes almost exactly 2 years after the release of their last album, Angles, which was met with mixed reviews from a lot of critics, but it was an album that I thoroughly enjoyed and still listen to from time to this day. This new album sees the Strokes return to form in a sense, and return to the style of Is This It? In some aspects, but at the time it also sees the band covering territory that they've never even tried before, and venturing into, even dare I say, synth pop. The synths come out in full swing on tracks like One Way Trigger, and also work themselves into the background of a lot of other tracks on this album. The guitar work on Comedown Machine has definitely evolved a lot from their last album, Angles, and just really throughout their musical career, and sounds a lot different, and it brings back kind of an 80s feel to me, kind of like a retro vibe to it. The title of one of their songs even makes sense, the whole 80s thing, 80s Comedown Machine, as well as the track All the Time. The guitars on that song sound very classic Strokes, and All the Time definitely seems like the best choice for the lead single on this album, and I definitely understand why they picked that one. The band worked together a lot more in the studio on the making of Comedown Machine, whereas on Angles they were more separated. Julian Casablancas, lead singer of the Strokes, would come in, do his parts, Nick, other members would come in and do their parts at separate times, but on Comedown Machine they work together a lot more. And does that show in the music? Not necessarily. On Angles, I just never really got the feeling that, there wasn't a sense of unity there. I wasn't feeling disconnected from the music. I couldn't tell that, it wasn't made all while they were all in the same studio or all in the same room. The album gets a bit tiresome in its second half. The vocals lack energy, and the pace really just slows down and mellows out the album on tracks like 50-50. That one especially really just kind of lightens the mood, mellows things out, brings down the intensity that the first 5 tracks on the album really brought. I will admit that even some of the slow songs on the album, such as 50-50, have some very interesting little guitar riffs and some creeping bass lines that add a lot of texture to some otherwise somewhat bland tracks. Julian's vocals always have had a tendency of kind of getting drowned out in the music, and I kind of hate that at times, and prime examples on this record of that happening is 50-50 and Slow Animals. There's a line between, blurring out the vocals and focusing more on the music, and just having the vocals turned down a little too much where they're just like a whisper or just a faint sound in the background. The totally laid-back vocal delivery is definitely an approach and a choice, but it's not my favorite, that's for sure. Julian goes falsetto on tracks like One Way Trigger and Partners in Crime, and I actually really find myself enjoying it. When he can nail those high notes like that, some people find it annoying. I honestly find it interesting, and I think it adds something, and I actually see that he's trying and he's putting forth a lot of effort. So it comes down to the fact that it just adds something that much more to the track. Partners in Crime is one track that has really grown on me with repeated listens. It's definitely got that 80s throwback style I was talking about, and it almost sounds like something you might hear at like a high school dance or something like that. The guitar is kind of quiet and melodic in the background as the synths really carry this song home and take it from just being something that's kind of, boring, generic maybe, and in the middle of the road to being something that's actually special. Chances and Happy Ending really bring back the energy of the album, and I really think it's a shame that Happy Ending did not close the album. Happy Ending has a lot of interesting sounds on the track, and the guitar actually gets a little bit more explosive towards the end of the song, and it sounds really cool. Now for a track I honestly can't stand, it's the closer on the album, Call It Karma, Call It Fate. I get it, it's a closer, but the vocals are just a faint whisper in the background, and the guitar sounds somewhat apathetic as the song kind of drags along. Let's go ahead and jump into the key tracks and my personal favorites from Comedown Machine. All the Time, the lead single, which is probably my favorite overall on this record. All the Time definitely has a really cool guitar vibe to it. I like the solo a whole lot, and it's definitely got that classic Strokes vibe to it. Welcome to Japan, a solid rock tune. It's got some of my favorite lyrics on the album featured on this track, Welcome to Japan. What kind of an asshole drives a Lotus? One Way Trigger is another personal favorite and another key track. Very Take On Me sounding, 80s style. It's definitely driven home by the synths, and that's really what brings the comparison, honestly. At first, it was a little bit weird getting used to Julian's falsetto vocals at a lot of points on this song, and when it was released for free download back in January, but honestly it's turned into one of my favorites of the year so far. 80s Comedown Machine really starts off with a blast of guitars and energy, and it just sounds great. I love Julian's vocals on this track. The chorus is one of the best on the album, if not the best, on Comedown Machine. Tapout is another favorite. It's got a really raw and garagey feel to it, especially at the start of the track, and it's a great way to kick off the album. Partners in Crime and Chances are rounding out my favorites here on this album. For the Strokes, Is This It? Had to make the reference. I'm sorry, but what do you guys think of Comedown Machine? For me, 3.5 out of 5 for this album. I want to know what you guys thought though. Let me know in the comment section down below. I really hope that this isn't the last album we see from the Strokes. They've been one of the biggest bands in kind of the garage rock and rock movement of the 21st century. So here's to hoping that this isn't the end of the Strokes. See you guys very soon. A lot of reviews coming. Senses Fail, Renaissance, Rocket to the Moon, Wild and Free, Waves, Afraid of Heights, and so many more that are coming within the next month or so. So make sure you subscribe, share the video with a friend, hit the like button, whatever you need to do. Thanks for all the support, guys. Thanks for watching, of course. My name is John, Album Review TV, Beyond the Reviews.